So let's talk about the Joker, because this really isn't a comic book movie. It's a character study that just happens to feature one of Batman's biggest villains. When it came out, people argued about it nonstop. Some called it a masterpiece, some called it dangerous, others thought it was just trying too hard to be edgy. I think what makes Joker so interesting isn't all the violence. It's how uncomfortable it makes you feel watching one man slowly disappear. Arthur Fleck isn't introduced as some criminal mastermind. He's just broken. He lives with his mother, he works as a clown, he's trying to be a stand-up comedian, and every day, life reminds him that nobody cares. Now, before anybody says Arthur was secretly a good guy, no, he wasn't. But the movie also doesn't pretend that everybody around him is innocent either. Everybody he meets either ignores him, humiliates him, or treats him like he doesn't exist. His boss doesn't trust him, teenagers beat him up for fun, people laugh at him because of his medical condition, even when he tries to be friendly. He's treated like he's a burden, and that's what makes this movie so uncomfortable. Not because it's telling you to agree with Arthur, but because you've probably seen people treated exactly like that. One of the smartest things the movie does is make Gotham feel sick. The garbage strike, trash piling up, crime everywhere, rich people looking down on everyone else. It feels like the city is falling apart. Arthur isn't creating chaos. He's just another symptom of it. Then we have Joaquin Phoenix. I honestly don't know how a person prepares for a performance like this. Every movement feels awkward. Every laugh sounds painful. Even the way he walks tells a story. It just looks like he wants to disappear. He's hunched over. He avoids eye contact. He barely speaks. Then, as he slowly becomes the Joker, everything changes. He stands taller. He walks with confidence. Even his dancing becomes smoother. It's almost like Arthur dies before the makeup comes on. The dancing deserves its own conversation. At first it just feels random, but every dance happens after Arthur lets another piece of himself go. It's not a celebration, it's transformation. He's becoming someone who no longer cares about fitting into society. And then there's the laugh. Most people remember it because it's creepy, but it's actually one of the saddest parts of the movie. Arthur suffers from a neurological disorder that causes uncontrollable laughter. People think he's laughing at them when really he's suffering. The movie constantly reminds us that nobody bothers asking what's wrong. They just assume he's crazy. Eventually, Arthur loses access to therapy because the city cuts funding. That scene might be one of the most important moments in the entire movie. The therapist tells him something that perfectly sums up Arthur's life. They don't care about people like you. And they don't care about people like me either. Once that support disappears, Arthur is completely alone. Then comes the subway scene. 3 wealthy businessmen start harassing a woman on a train. Arthur starts laughing uncontrollably. Their attention immediately shifts towards them. What starts as another beating ends with Arthur shooting all 3 men. That moment changes Gotham forever. To Arthur, it begins as self-defense. But after that, something inside him wakes up. And for the first time in his life, he feels powerful. The city doesn't know who the shooter is. Instead, people create their own meaning, and the clown mask becomes a symbol against the wealthy. Arthur never planned to start a movement. People simply just projected their frustrations onto him. That's something I think gets overlooked. Arthur didn't create the anger. He just accidentally becomes its face. Then the movie slowly pulls the rug out from under us. Arthur discovers that his mom lied to him. Or at least, that's what the record suggests. Was he abused? Was he adopted? Did everything happen the exact way we were told? The film never gives a completely clear answer, and that's intentional. Because the film constantly asks one question, can we really trust Arthur's version of reality? The relationship with Sophie is the biggest clue. For half the movie, we think that Arthur finally found someone that maybe understands him. And then, the movie reveals that she was never really there. He imagined the entire relationship. It's one of those twists that completely change everything that you've already watched. From that point on, you start questioning every scene. How much of this actually happened? How much of this is just in Arthur's mind? And then we get Murray Franklin. Arthur has spent the entire film wanting Murray's approval. He's like the father figure that, Arthur never had. When Murray invites him onto the show, you think things might finally, turn around. Instead, Arthur walks onto live television and confesses to murder. And shoots Murray in the head. It's shocking. Not because you don't expect violence, but because Arthur quits pretending to be someone that everyone else wants. The transformation is complete. Arthur Fleck is gone. The Joker is what remains. Then comes the ending. The city erupts into complete chaos. People wearing clown masks riot through Gotham. Police lose control. Arthur becomes a hero to thousands of strangers without ever trying to be one. And honestly, that's one of the movie's darkest ideas. Movements don't always begin because someone plans them. Sometimes people are desperate enough to follow anyone who represents their anger. Then there's the final scene. Arthur laughs while speaking to a psychiatrist. She asks what's funny. He replies, "You wouldn't get it." And that's where the movie leaves us. Did everything happen? Did some of it happen? Is Arthur remembering events differently? Or has he been in the hospital the whole time? The movie never answers those questions, and honestly, I think that's the right decision. The Joker isn't about solving a mystery. It's about watching a man slowly lose the ability to tell reality from fantasy. Whether every event happened the exact way that we saw it almost doesn't matter. What matters is how Arthur experienced it. Years later, Joker is still one of the boldest comic book movies ever because it barely feels like one. There are no giant action scenes, no world-ending stakes, no superheroes flying across the screen, just one lonely man, one collapsing city, and a story that's more interested in psychology than spectacle. It's disturbing, it's uncomfortable, and whether you love it or hate it, it's almost impossible to forget. I'd give Joker 9.5 out of 10, not because it's easy to watch, but because it's one of the few comic book films that leaves you thinking long after the credits roll. Let me know in the comments, do you think Arthur Fleck became Joker because he was always destined to? Or did Gotham create him?